Welcome to 10-4 with Johnny Jones, the front porch of the internet and the only YouTube channel about you. Make sure you have yourself some coffee like I do, because I did not get a lot of sleep. I got a lot of stuff going on. But speaking of a lot of stuff, I have a lot of comments here to read because I didn't read all of them last time. So we got a lot of stuff to go through today, so stick around and hopefully my brain starts working a little bit faster in the next coming minutes. Anyways, let's get to it. Comment on our list is by Steven Lawson, who says, "Buddy, this is awesome. I like both your channels." This must be from my main channel, the video I just put out not long ago, talking about the controversy with YouTube and Farpoint Farms and all that. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like both channels. Hope you subscribe to both. I got a lot of subscribers from that video, by the way, over here on this channel. I think something like 40 or so. So welcome to the group here. Jake Rogers says, "Hey Johnny, considering that you are in Bigfoot country up in BC, do you believe in Bigfoot? In Surrey and Stokes County, North Carolina, where I live, there's a fairly large number of sightings that happen every year." Interesting, because the county that you're talking about, Surrey, I actually have a derivation of that name in my family. So perhaps I, clambered down from the hills that you're talking about. we may be related somehow. Do I believe in Bigfoot? Well, obviously I'm here, right? No. If I ask myself, is there a possibility for an unknown species of animal to be walking around? Yeah, of course. We find stuff all the time. Go look at the bottom of the ocean. There's all sorts of different species, things that they find down there. Obviously, we haven't found every single thing on Earth. There's things that we aren't allowed to find, I think. From a natural standpoint, it's possible that there's a Bigfoot. I think it's less possible. I think it's highly unlikely, because I feel like somebody would have found, bones or something. They would have shot one by now. From an unnatural or paranormal side of things, then you would start having to think about Nephilim and stuff like that. And then that's not something you want to think about too much, because the way I see it, read the word and don't dig too deeply. That's the way I see it. If I'm a good person and if I do good things for my neighbors, I won't have to worry about how the universe was constructed or what lays inside of it, and all the little cobwebs in between, because let's face it, if I knew something like that was around, I don't think I'd sleep very well at night. And if you want to know more about it, you can look up the Dogman stories. Those are terrifying and have far too many coinkadinks in them. God, I can't believe I just used the word coinkadink. You know what? I'll reprimand myself later. Moving on. By the way, thanks for commenting there, Jake. AJ Ray says, "Glad to see you back, bub. Love ya, man. Old Johnny Jones, dang. Go out in a real flame." Well, hold on now, AJ Ray. I'm not planning on going out in a real flame just yet, all right? I think what he's referring to is I was actually sick for a while, and he wants me to go out like a big ball of tinder and gasoline. And I can't disagree there, AJ Ray. That is probably a better way of going out than just being sick, right? Well, thank you very much for the death wishes there, AJ Ray. Husker Dan says, "The Sting, because I asked you guys what your favorite films were, and you guys answered." Husker Dan says, "The Sting, starring Robert Redford and Paul Newman. I saw it back in the 80s, and it was immediately went to number one on my favorite movies list." I do recall hearing about The Sting. I haven't personally watched it, I suppose because it didn't seem like it'd be something I would be interested in. So I will have to take a look at it again. I've seen it a few times as far as I've seen previews or people talking about it. But I'll have to take a look at it again. Maybe we could have a stream. Because frankly, I don't care if I make any money whatsoever on this channel. So what do I care about copyright strike? We could watch a movie together on a stream. all sorts of movies. And you see, I pause them a lot and talk about them, and really, you know, I just criticize a lot of stuff because I'm one of those terrible people. So that might be fun as well. Well, thank you for commenting there, Husker Dan. I haven't seen you around. I hope you're new to the channel and you're sticking around. I think you may have commented on my other channel, by the way. So if you did, thank you very much for subscribing. So I appreciate it very, very much there. One Stop Fab Shop says, Confucius say, he who go backwards through airport, turnstile going to Bangkok. That's not bad. That's in response to my terrible joke video. That's not bad. It's not terrible, though. It's not quite that terrible. I feel like it needs to be a little bit worse, right? It might be just a little too good. No offense, but your joke might be a little too funny to be bad. And thank you very much, One Stop Fab Shop. Plow Jockey says, good to see you, wild man. Glad you're all right. Hope your cold gets better soon. I send a couple, the voice things on your phone. Oh, the voice messages. Yeah, voicemails. I did listen to them. Thank you for sending them. Don't know if you got them or not, but I sent him there, kind of beginning to wonder if you've been ate by a grizzly bear or an old black bear. Take care, old man. Catch you on the flip. Well, thank you very much, Plow Jockey. Yeah, I knew you guys were a bit worried. I got messages and some voicemails from you, and I think Little Cow had sent me something. So yeah, I'm alive, and we've established that now. I will have to go and look at those voicemails again and try to remember which ones I put in videos and which ones I haven't. It's kind of problematic having your number available to so many different people because you have a lot of people who want to contact you. The problem is I'll have people call me but not leave a voicemail, and that covers up previous calls. So I'm going to have a better system of setting that up so I don't miss things. But I appreciate the concern. No, I'm still here. Bigfoot hasn't eaten me yet. Thank you, Plow Jockey, for commenting. Phil says, way cool that you watch Farpoint Farms as well. Hope you feel better soon, brother. Yep, feeling somewhat better. I feel better in a sense of I'm not sick anymore, but I'm not smoking either. So that sucks. I feel way worse in that regard. I'm irritated. I'm not happy. I look like this. If you had to look in the mirror every day and see this, wouldn't that upset you? But no, I'm doing better there, Phil. Thank you very much for the wishes. And I'm doing great. We're gonna have fun. Maybe do some live streams. Probably going to be easier than recording like this because I feel like these recordings get pretty long. But then again, maybe you'll like it that way. I don't know. You know, is it better to do a live stream or is it better to have the recordings? I don't know. We'll have to see. Vintage 76 Viper Green Beetle says, glad to hear you stop smoking. Don't give up. Well, I can't give up. You know, the thing is, I got to start thinking about stuff like that. I'm not young anymore. You have to realize when I'm turning 34 in a few days. Once you're, turning 34, you got to start thinking about, okay, look, you need to chill out. You're not a kid anymore. You can't just go have fun and not worry about it and let your body deal with it. Because I've seen people who didn't wise up fast enough and they're 55 or 60 and they're broken. Even if they stopped smoking, they may live a little longer, but they've already done a lot of damage to their body, or maybe they've just abused it with drugs or alcohol, and they just cannot reverse it. There's a point where you can't go back at least not all the way back, right? You can't really restore it to where it would have been. And I think, I don't want to get to that point. And I have a tendency of just blindly doing whatever and not thinking about the future, but things have changed in the last couple of years with me, so I'm definitely starting to think about not only my future, but my future with you guys on this channel as well. I don't want to be 50 years old and feel so crappy I can't make videos anymore. And who knows, I might not even be making video. YouTube might not exist in 20 years, though. I don't know. That's kind of strange, though. I'll be 50 in 15 years. Ay. That's rough. Well, 49. That's close enough to 50. Anyways, thank you for commenting there, Viper Green Beetle. Sorry to go through all of that. Elliot Spencer says, hi, Johnny. Nice to see you again. Get some vitamin C, zinc, vitamin E tablets. They should help your immune system. And well done on the quitting smoking. Just think all that money that you will save and how healthy you will become. Yes, I can remember the smoky skies when I used to live in Canada, Saskatoon and Saskatchewan. And it looks like there's a bit more here. I am awaiting delivery of a Cobra 19 CB radio from Texas, USA. This is the old 1970s 23 channel mobile rig with the printed dial readout. I wonder if you have one of these in your CB collection. Looking forward to your next video. Take care. Well, thank you very much there, Elliot. So starting out with, yes, vitamin C is wonderful. Don't buy it at the store. Vitamin C at the store is pretty much a synthesized joke from what I've heard that has no effect whatsoever on your body. So if you want real vitamin C, and if you want to, let's say your family has the flu or a sickness going around, I'll tell you, this is how I used to do it. Grind up orange peels. You grind that stuff up into a powder, keep the powder in a jar, and take 3 spoonfuls of pure orange peel powder every time there's a sickness going around. You will not get sick. That stuff helps a lot. Zinc is wonderful. Thank you for that recommendation. Zinc is really important, and you can tell if you have a zinc deficiency if you can see through your fingernails, by the way. So if you got see-through nails, you got zinc deficiency. So from what I've heard, I am no doctor or expert. Vitamin E tablets should help your immune system. I don't know that much about vitamin E. I will tell you that. But thank you. Thank you for the recommendations. And thank you. I'm happy I'm quitting smoking, and I'm certainly enjoying the breathing room. As far as the Cobra 19, I think I know what you're talking about. I do have quite a few vintage CBs in my collection that are the 23 channel smaller radios. I do know it's at a point in time in the 70s when CB radio was getting huge, everyone wanted in on it. And there's a few models that really were the most basic models you could get, and the Cobra 19 pretty much was one of those entry-level models that had nothing but a channel selector, a squelch setting, and a volume knob. That was it. And there was a lot of other radios like that too. I have a Robin. I don't know if you guys know of a Robin. It's R-Y. It spells. It's spelled with a Y. How do they put that Y in there? Robin's with the on the B-I-N. It's Robin with a B-Y-N. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Brain. Anyways, T-Berry also made one. If I can remember correctly, T-Berry made a small model of a radio as well, similar to the Cobra 19 minis, but I think they may have been older. I don't recall. Anyways, I have a few like that in my collection. I don't know if I absolutely 100% have a Cobra 19, but I do have a ton like it. The mini radios that were not exactly cheap. You know, you'd think, oh, it's probably pretty cheap. They were still pretty expensive. And I imagine they still got stolen out of a lot of cars. But, yeah, I have a few like that. So enjoy it. I imagine this must be a collector's edition sort of thing for you, or a collector's item for you, because I don't know why anyone would use a Cobra 19 now. But I will be soon in my upcoming video, so keep a lookout for that. Anyways, as far as we used to live in Canada in Saskatoon and Saskatchewan, you guys have some really Oompa Loompa sounding names up here. I tell you, there's all sorts of strange places with goofy names like Popcum. Popcum? You know, like, what was it? Just, I don't know. Shoe Schwap? I don't know. It's just so strange. But thank you for commenting there, Elliot Spencer, as always. Little Cow Workshop, Monty says, welcome back. Perhaps check out some ivermectin or HCQ. I took ivermectin and HCQ. Hydrochloroquine? Is that what you're talking about? Awesome song. Favorite movie? Well, I have several. Heartbreak Ridge, Kelly's Heroes, A Bronx Tale, etc. 73's brother, Monty in Southwest Florida. I took some ivermectin. Yes, hydrochloroquine. Pretty sure that's what HCQ is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I did take that. That helped. That's the only thing that started helping, by the way. Why an anti-parasitic drug helps with a virus, I don't really understand that. But I'm not a doctor, just a lunatic. Favorite movie, like you said, is Heartbreak Ridge. Haven't seen that. I have not seen Heartbreak Ridge, A Bronx Tale, anything like that. And I think it's for the same reason I haven't watched the Robert Redford movie that was recommended. It's because I am not... until recently, I was a pretty lonely, depressed dude, you know? So, if it had any depression or sadness at all in it, I refused to watch it. It didn't matter if it was old, you know, because obviously you would assume I'd go for old movies. I do like older movies. But if it's an old movie with any sort of reality or depression to it, yeah, nah. So I stuck to comedy or horror, because horror movies aren't real. There's no depression in a horror movie. Now, granted, there's some really depressing horror movies out there, and why the heck would you watch that? I don't know. But no, I haven't checked that out. I'll have to watch all this on a stream, right? So thank you for the recommendation. Kelly's Heroes seems really, really familiar. Have I seen that? Is that a Clint Eastwood movie? Anyways, let me know. Thank you for commenting there, Monty. Taste Matters 2. Taste Matters 2. Okay. My 17-inch aluminum brand new laptop got stolen. Airport workers, together with all my paperwork, thumb drives, 2 external hard drive, flash drives, a digital Canon camera, and Microsoft, 950, one Microsoft OS 950 XL, smartphones and docks after check-in at Vancouver International Airport for my flight back to AMS Schiphol. Is that, it's SCHIPOL? PHOL. Schiphol Airport. Neither KLM didn't care, and then stole my brand new Motorola Android phone I carried in my coat pocket, leaving the arrival gate at Schiphol. I'm butchering that, I know. Result in no access to my Canadian bank app or bank's website, etc. That is how my life back in Holland started on August 8th, 2022. Jesus Christ, that's rough, buddy. You must have, you must be really, really short or really sweet, because you just look like a really good target there, I guess. My God, man. Yeah, I didn't have anything stolen, just a few awkward moments where people are really weird. I don't know. I watch people like a hawk, you know. So there's some suspicious people I had to watch out for. But also, at the same time, I worry more about TSA. And in a sense, I worry more about TSA than I do about the people around me. Because the way I see it, the people around me in the airport are the sheep like I am, you know, the beaten into submission sheep people, and we're just thrown on a big sardine can and sent out in the sky and just hope really hard that the pilot knows what he's doing and wasn't up all night on a bender. So I don't trust the TSA as much as I trust my fellow man. And of course, there's merit to it. They broke my laptop last time. Now, in your case, yeah, well, there's not much you can do about it. It doesn't matter if anything gets stolen. You're not going to be able to complain about it. They're going to go, we don't know what happened. Sorry, make a complaint with someone else, and they'll just give you the runaround over and over. They don't care. TSA workers, now there may be one of you, I highly doubt it, in the chat here, or a viewer. I highly doubt it, but if there's a TSA worker in the who's viewing this video right now, I don't mean to offend the entirety of TSA workers. I don't intend on offending the entirety of DMV workers, but 98.9% of you guys suck. Like 98% of you guys really suck. The rest of you guys, you're absolutely regular people. I've never met an exceptional DMV worker or an airline worker or, TSA agent. I haven't met any one of you guys I actually love. But you know what? I'm sure there's someone out there who isn't absolutely the worst person on earth who works for the TSA. And I appreciate you for existing. You certainly make up for the 98% of TSA workers. Well, you have to, don't you? Anyways, sorry about all your chaos there and on your way back to Deutschland. Holland is Deutschland, right? Leave that in the comments, because I feel like I'm right on that. Taste matters. Boy, this is going on too long. Are you tired of me talking? I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. Fred, who isn't Fred, if you don't know what I mean, Fred is a handle for this. I can't remember your name now, Fred. I can't remember Fred's name. Okay, Fred's a handle, but Fred, who's not Fred, good to hear from you again. And congrats on giving up smoking. I'm split on my favorite movies, Secondhand Lions and The Great Escape. I saw Secondhand Lions. The Great Escape sounds familiar. Let's go ahead and look it up here. Great Escape. I saw Secondhand Lions when I was younger, so 11 or 12, probably when it came out. So I think, if I remember correctly, Secondhand Lions came out in 2003. I'm usually pretty good with that. For some reason, I hold on to dates if I see them. What was that name? What's the name of the kid? I usually am pretty good with that. One was Robert Duvall. One was Michael Caine. The other one was something Olsen, right? I can't remember. Anyways, I did watch it. I didn't necessarily like it as a kid. I watched it again a couple years back. It's an okay movie for what it is. I think for me, Michael Caine and Robert Duvall playing brothers, I just couldn't buy it. I'm trying not to sound British. That was a terrible frickin'. Leave me alone. Don't you point out that bad. That was a great accent. You know it was. Anyways, The Great Escape here. Who's in this? Steve McQueen, James Garner, Richard Attenborough, James Donald, Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson is like the B-movie hero. One of the B-movie heroes that I've seen some of his work in. I haven't seen this Great Escape yet. It's apparently a World War II Allied prisoners of war have repeatedly escaped from camps in Germany and moved to a new camp under the command of Colonel von Luger. He warns the senior prisoner escapees will be shot. Okay, so this is like, oh God, what was it? The one that was funny, was it called Hogan's Heroes? Wasn't it? Hogan's Heroes? Yeah, it's kind of like that, probably just really sad. Okay. Anyways, I haven't seen that one, no, but I am familiar with Charles Bronson. I've seen some of his goofy B movies. I was going to say something else that it reminded me of, and I can't remember now. One of the most interesting movies that I've seen from this era, because this was 63, and it wasn't, I think it was made around the same time of this movie, maybe a little bit older or younger than this movie, was Day of the Jackal. I don't know if you've seen that film. That was a really, really cool film. It sort of felt like Pink Panther, but real, It felt like there was danger to it. I loved the idea of seeing a serial killer, pretty much, someone who killed for money, just go along about their day, and I liked how it was focused on their intelligence. Yeah, and then the ending was a little bit of a twist, which was pretty cool too. So anyways, I don't know if you've seen that, but that is one of my favorite films from around that era. Getting back, because I've been talking forever, I do apologize to you about that. But listen, if you left a comment, you'd want someone to respond and look into it, right? So, thank you very much for commenting there, Fred. Alan Slade says, I did leave a message earlier, but it seems to have disappeared. That's a bit weird. I did go on a little bit. Okay, this must be in reference to something I said. I did leave a message earlier, but it seems to have disappeared. That's a bit weird. I did go on a little bit anyways. Glad to see you back. Get well soon, my friend. My favorite film is Aliens. God bless you and yours. 73, Alan Slade. Thank you, Alan Slade. Aliens. Okay, hold on a second. Aliens, was that the second movie? I can't remember. Hold on. We're gonna do a little game here. I'm gonna guess when Alien was made, and then I'm gonna guess when Aliens was made. God, I feel like Alien was made in 1979. Aliens would have to be 81. Let's find out. Aliens. Alien franchise, right? I'm going to pretend like I spelled that correctly, by the way. You have no idea. I actually spelled it absolutely the 100% correct. I had no typos or mistakes in that. 79, yeah, Alien was 79. Let's see, Aliens was the second one. Oh, wow. I was wrong on that. You know, I was thinking they were aiming at the modern day every 2-year movie, or every 2-year sequel, but Aliens came out 7 years later. Aliens came out 7 years after the original Alien, which means Sigourney Weaver was that. So that's why it's so trippy seeing her in different movies, because there's like a ridiculous amount of time in between movies. Alien 3 was 1992, and of course that's 6 years after Alien. So was she in that one? I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't seen Aliens. I've seen the first one a little bit. I was going to watch it again recently, but I didn't get around to it. I did see the Alien vs. Predator crossover film from 2004. I saw it when it came out. Not in theaters, but we'll say I saw it a year after it came out, around that time. I wasn't super into it. I do remember liking Predator. Not the first Predator, necessarily. I like the second one with, what's his name, Danny Glover in it. And I don't really know why. I think maybe because it was more about the Predator surviving, you know. It was less about men hunting the Predator and the Predator going, well, I'm stuck in this weird universe and I'm going to have to take care of myself, or weird world, I'm going to take care of myself. I don't know, I just found it more interesting. So I liked the second Predator film. I do believe Danny Glover was in the second one. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first one, I'm pretty sure was Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse Ventura. What was the other guy's name? I can't remember. You know, the black guy. I can say that because I'm not racist. If I was, I couldn't say black guy. God, what was his name? Because he also played in Rocky, did he not? Didn't he play in Rocky? What's his freaking name? Okay, what am I looking for? Predator 2. I'm sorry this is taking so long. I'm having fun. Yeah. Danny Glover, Gary Busey was in Predator 2, really? No, I'm looking for Predator. That's right, Predator. Predator. Oh boy, don't look up Predator. It does not bring up movies. It brings up like news articles. Okay, looks like they made a reboot in 2018. Schwarzenegger, Bill Duke. Is that his name? No, not talking about him. Let's see. It's got to be Carl Weathers, right? It's got to be Carl Weathers. Okay. Carl Weathers, he was a football player. He was in the first 4 Rocky films. He played Chubbs in Happy Gilmore. I did not know that. I had not put that together yet. Okay, so Carl Weathers. Thank you. That's his name there. Why am I talking about this? That's right. Because you said you liked Aliens. I liked Predator more than Aliens, but I will tell you this. Aliens or Alien, the first movie, the one I watched, was pretty scary. It was pretty scary. They had a really interesting lore, especially when you started mixing the whole Alien and Predator thing. There was some cool lore set up there. If I remember correctly, one of my favorite actors, oh God, what was his name? I can't even remember his name now. He played in one of my favorite films, which I'm not going to tell you yet. Lance Hendrickson should have been an alien. Alien film. Film. I'm almost absolutely 100% certain that my nose is stopped up. Lance Hendrickson played in this film. All right. All right, he's not in there. Yeah. Okay, so you're not going to tell me that he was in there, but I know he's in there. Lance Hendrickson. It's Henriksen. I keep putting a D in it. I'm a doofy man. Come on. Dude, he was in Alien. Alright, I'll cut this crap out. Okay, he was in Aliens. Okay, that's where I got it wrong. So, Lance Hendrickson was in Aliens, not Alien. Okay, alright, I'll clear it up. Anyways, he is one of my favorite B-movie actors because I absolutely love Pumpkinhead. That's probably one of my top 10 favorite movies ever was Pumpkinhead. Totally looked over and in the horror movie genre. Like it's one of those that it's like the redheaded stepchild. But if you like Alien, the reason why Pumpkinhead, the visuals was so similar to Alien is because the same person worked on the puppetry. So the practical effects for Pumpkinhead, if you go and watch that movie, they looked exactly like some of the models in Alien. So if you enjoyed that and you haven't seen Pumpkinhead, go check it out. It's got Lance Hendrickson. He is the main character in that. He plays Ed Harley, and the creature, the monster, is intelligent, which is why I respected the movie Alien, and why I love the movie Pumpkinhead, because the bad guy, the monster, isn't mindless. It's incredibly smart, and for that reason, I find it more terrifying. Also, the lore. There's a sort of Appalachian lore to it, which has some truth, enough truth to be kind of scary. So, yeah. Anyways, let's get back to the comments. Sorry for the rant. Let's see here. So thank you very much, Alan Slade. Sorry for all the talking. Bobs152 said, Johnny is called a piano recital because I was talking about a guy who was playing a piano who got interrupted with a smartphone, like a ringtone, and he looked like someone had crapped in his cornflakes. Here's a good one. Try Justin Trudeau dancing in a Katy Perry video. God, did he actually do that? I feel like he would have done that. Did he do that? You let me know. My favorite movie is Back to the Future. Good to see you survive the fires. Well, thank you. I'm certainly glad I survived the fires as well. Back to the Future. Let's talk about Back to the Future. Because it's one of those movies. It's one of those movies for me, Mr. Bobs. That's there's 3 people in here going, God, he's gonna go on about movies again. Okay, so Back to the Future, I'll make it pretty quick. Back to the Future is one of those films that I feel has so much backstory, so much lore, that it is beautiful, and it is one of the most well-established, interesting movie series, because just of how much is going on and how much thought and creativity went into it. However, I find that it kills me a little bit in my soul, because time travel movies, to me, have to actually obey the laws of time travel. And none of the Back to the Future movies actually touched on real time travel, as well as The Time Machine. That movie came out in 2002, The Time Machine. It was based on the book, I think, was written in the 1800s, 1880s, I think. But anyways, so those films, as much as I want to like them, they completely ruin the idea of time travel because they create constant paradoxes. Like, if you went back in time to fix something, let's say I lost a foot and I went back in time to when I was younger and prevented myself from losing the foot. Because I didn't lose the foot, I would never go back in time to keep myself from losing the foot, which would cause a paradox because I'd have to go back in time to keep myself from... So basically what you'd end up with is a loop, right? A constant loop, and you'd have to say, you know what? That loop somewhere just travels out into space like a radio wave, and that endless loop is just forever gone, and now we have this stationary timeline again. You would have to do it that way, and a lot of movies do that. They're like, okay, look, we're going to make that was a paradox, and it's going to straighten itself out, and everything's destroyed, including the people in the loop, and now we're back on track. And I don't know, it just feels a little too perfect for me. So, as much as I loved the movies, as much as I loved the creativity that went in the movies, and the characters, which, by the way, I can't remember the guy's name who played Doc, but... he's still alive. He still looks roughly the same age. The guy hasn't aged more than 20 years in the last 40-some. And he was one of my favorite villains in Roger Rabbit. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That was another film that I actually enjoyed as a kid and as an adult. That was a really nice noir-style film. Anyways, that's my problem with Back to the Future. Sorry about that, Bobs. Paul Puglia says, well, glad to see everything's all right and all well with you. Was wondering what happened. I always say never quitting when it comes to smoking. I haven't had a cigarette in over 20 years. My favorite movie is Top Gun. Do you have... Okay, have a wonderful day. God bless. Your friend Paul from Michigan. Ciao for now, bro. Ciao for now, bro. Top Gun... action movie, and that's I think where the one place that we differ from my subscribers. I am not a big action movie guy. I didn't really care much for Rocky. I didn't care for Rambo except for the first one. So Rambo First Blood is the only movie in that series that I actually enjoyed. The rest of it I felt like was too much action. So Top Gun, although it has one of my favorite actors in the world in it, Val Kilmer, I just didn't really get into that. Now, I may always make a mistake, I don't know, but I'm almost certain, like dead certain Val Kilmer's in that. He was also in one of my favorite films, Tombstone, which I have watched just repeatedly over my life. I mean, I've watched that over and over. Now, I can't directly quote it, but I just know that every time I watch it, and I've watched it 3, 4, 5, 6 times, that it's great. It's a masterpiece of a movie. It's 9.5 out of 10. It's a wonderful film. And Val Kilmer is one of the biggest parts and reasons why that's such a great film. But you can't forget about the rest. I think Bill Paxton was in that. I think, who else was in that I can't remember his name right now, that I think he was wonderful in, oh God, he was in Quentin Tarantino films, and I can't even think of Kurt Russell. Why can't I think of Kurt Russell? He was the quintessential action hero of the, what would you say, later 80s? Because the action movies he was in was more of a novelty than true action style Sylvester Stallone or, Arnold Schwarzenegger films. He was more of a quirky action hero. I liked him in a lot of stuff. He was in the recent film, I guess it's not recent anymore, Hateful Eight, directed by Quentin Tarantino. He was great in that film too. He was great in a lot of movies. So, yeah, man, that was... I keep doing the whole Kevin Bacon thing where I keep going, I didn't love that movie, but here's multiple actors and ways to get to my favorite film. But Top Gun, I do respect Tom Cruise. he seems to be absolutely dedicated to making films. He's not a snowflake, but I never really liked much of his movies because I'm not a huge action guy. I'm more of a Western kind of guy. Not necessarily. I don't like the idea of drama unless it's frontier drama, unless it's Western, real life stuff. I'm not a big city guy. As much as I did like Clint Eastwood, I didn't care much for the, oh God, what was his Dirty Harry films? It was, they all had different freaking names because of where it took place. I'm not a city guy. I did think there was a lot of great scenes in that, a lot of great cars too. I love the old cars, but didn't like the city feel of it. So more of a period, 19 or not 19, but 1800s Western kind of guy. Not spaghetti as much. Spaghetti Westerns were called spaghetti Westerns because they were shot in Italy because it was cheaper to shoot them that way. I'm sorry for this. You guys have seen a side of me that you don't normally see, and this is the chatterbox, I can't shut up about movies side. And music, don't get me started on music. Thank you for commenting there, Paul, though. I appreciate you. And yeah, I'm not going to pick up another cigarette, and I'm going to continue quitting over and over and over, and I'll never have another one. I won't say I'll never have another one, but I'm going to try my hardest because I do not want to keep sacrificing myself. You Should Read says, Johnny, be careful out in heavy smoke. Big reward for a Bigfoot. Yep, I'm here. You might get shot at. Back to the Future or any Clint movie that are Josie Wales or older, you should be able to play Pink Floyd's Nobody Home on the piano. Traveled from Naples to Tampa and tried to get a contact on my Ranger in 992 last week. Only made one. Naples to skip. Could put me in the Gulf of America or Atlantic. Not a hotbed of activity, but traveling from 10 till 1. Skip was rolling. On the way back at 4, it was dead. Anyways, good to see you. Good to see you again in the comment section there. You Should Read. I saw you comment on my latest video on the Johnny Jones at Home channel. So appreciate it there. As far as Pink Floyd's Nobody Home on the Piano, I don't know that song. You'd think that's probably travesty to one of you. I know it is. You're like, have you never heard of that song? No. I've heard a lot of Pink Floyd songs. My favorite thus far by them is Wish You Were Here. Money had a really good intro. Comfortably Numb was tragically sad but beautiful. Oh God, there's so many Pink Floyd songs. Why is there's so many Pink Floyd songs? Anyways, so unfortunately I haven't heard that one, or if I have, I don't remember it from the title. Back to the Future, I already talked about that. Clint Eastwood movie, Josie Wales or older. That was more of a spaghetti Western era. I did watch, the ones where he was playing with Lee Van Cleef. I did think Lee Van Cleef was cooler looking than Clint Eastwood. Let's be honest. He had a really cool look to him. And they were okay. I didn't hate them. I thought they were pretty okay films. They were decent films. For spaghetti Westerns, they weren't quite as ridiculous, as some of the other ones were. Some spaghetti Westerns feel like Bonanza. They feel like 2 hours of Bonanza. And it's like, I don't want a John Landon sort of, or not John, Michael Landon sort of feel to a Western. And some of them did feel like that occasionally, like Little House on the Prairie, which on its own was not a bad show, but I wouldn't want a spaghetti Western feeling like that, and some of them did. Just a little bit too Deus Ex Machina, like everything happened perfectly in the end somehow, despite all the odds. The bullet bounced off and ricocheted off a fat man and, hit the bad guy in the back of the head. And I don't know. They took a crap and they buried him under the lake, and then there was gold, and everyone had lived happily ever after or something. I don't know what I'm talking about there. But, so, I will say, of the spaghetti Westerns I've seen, Clint Eastwood does do a pretty good job in spaghetti Westerns. So, that's what I'll say there. As far as your skip rolling, I also talked to Little Cow Workshop. He is traveling around getting him some skip too, and said, hey, he'll check in on me at some point. Maybe he'll see me. Maybe all of you guys at one point will. I have people in my comment section from BC going, oh, I'm in BC. Hey, if you get on the radio, I'll be here. So, very interesting. You guys are everywhere. CB radio users all over the place. Just crazy. Wonderful. I love you guys. Anyways, nice to hear from you. You should read. Thank you very much for the comment, and good luck to you. We have Chino Valdez is one of the last ones here, I think. Have fun in Canada, bud. Feel free to hit me up if in the Thunder Bay area. I am not close to the Thunder Bay area. Always something fun to do here this time of year. I'm not close, and it's not because I know where Thunder Bay is because I've looked this up previously when I saw this comment 4 weeks ago, and I was planning on making a video pretty soon, but totally got sick and everything went wrong. So, unfortunately, Chino, I'm replying 4 weeks too late. Sorry about that, but I'm not quite close enough to the Thunder Bay area. AJ Ray says, bro, I wish I could show you my monopole build from aluminum pipe and copper ground planes. You helped us get started. Me and my sons, we built a few antennas, but this one is our best build. It looks like one you would buy from eBay. Well, more like Temu, but it's awesome. Well, I'm glad of that. AJ Ray here, he is imparting his love of CB radios onto his sons, which is rare. You know, it's kind of hard. You know, the other day I have nephews here, and obviously I'm not going to try this with nieces because let's face it, girls don't care about radio, and I'm like 99.9% right on that. Yes, you could argue there's 2 or 3 ham radio operators that are women, but you sure they don't do it because they're needed as emergency service? I mean, they're more about helping people, let's face it, okay? They're less about the propagation side of it. So I talked to my nephews. I said, you know, you guys, you know, you like radio? And God, I felt like luring a kid with candy or something. I don't know how to tell a kid, because I think it's so foreign. You have to explain everything. It's like, you know, hey, do you like radio? Well, to them, I don't even know what radio. They probably don't really understand the idea of what radio is, other than just turning on a radio in the car. So I said, well, you know, this would be CB radio, and it's a grown-up sort of radio. You can sit on there and talk to people and warn people if the fires get close. You know, you build a community. And so I'm going to try, after explaining what we're doing, which, by the way, I found out they were messing with people on FRS radios, which around here, you know, GMRS has been nerfed, so they're definitely hearing FRS, which is lower than 2 watts. Most of them are like half a watt. So they're actually talking crap to their neighbors. I told them they shouldn't do that. They certainly shouldn't do it on CB radio, but they'd probably be safer on CB radio than FRS because their neighbors are going, I know where those kids live. And so I'm trying to get them interested in radio, and I've got some CB radios hanging about, picked up really cheap. We're going to take a look at that too. Maybe I'll do another video really soon on this channel, just showing off the behind-the-scenes radio stuff that I'm doing. Thank you anyway for commenting there, AJ Ray. Good luck with the antenna builds. Antenna builds are wonderful. One of the best parts of radio. Temu, by the way, if you ever buy anything from Temu, go to AliExpress. It's cheaper. Temu's just a god-awful trap. I mean, it's basically like when your parents took you to McDonald's and they said, you go play with a ball pit. And yeah, see, I'm old enough to remember like having like ball pits and, you know, slides and things, and, you know, so they're like, you know, go play in that big thing you'll get lost in for a while. And we might be here. We may have changed tables. We might be going and getting the car warmed up. You might not. We don't know where we'll be when you come out that other side. When you're in there playing in that dirty loop of that dirty yellow loop of a thing, you know, where the kids have coughed on the windows and there's snot smeared so you can't see outside. All the cars look like, you know, just shadows. Whenever you get out the back of that thing, we might be here. We may have left you and decided on another child. You're not the best child in the world. We've made that clear. I'm reliving the experience. The point is, don't go to Temu, go to AliExpress. They have the same products and they don't do the whole... Is jerk you around a really bad phrase to use here? Because if it fits, but I don't know. Is that a weird phrase? Jerk you around? I don't know. I was thinking of Full Metal Jacket, which is not jerk you around. That's a different phrase. Anyways, thank you for commenting there, AJ. You Should Read says, we miss you, bro. Come back to us. Here I am. You Should Read. Little Cow Workshop says, safe travels, Johnny. This is a previous video a long time ago. Safe travels, Johnny. Love that you included your brother. He performed very well. Congrats on quitting the smoking habit one day at a time. You can do it. Thank you for showing some pics of my work. I look forward to creating something special and unique just for you. God bless you, Monty from Little Cow Workshop, Southwest Florida. Thank you very much. I knew he would perform very well on that song, and so I had to give it to him. He's exceptional at that kind of music, and I look forward to when we get back to, or when I get back, not you and I. When I get back, we will talk about it, and you can make something for the bench, something small enough. Maybe I can put some nuts and bolts in. That way I can keep it in the shots. And if anyone asks, who made that, I can always point you out and say Little Cow Workshop did. So thank you for the comments. And this one's an old one, so yeah, I crapped out on some of these guys. I'm sorry about that. Paul Puglia says 4 weeks ago, hello, Johnny. Your brother did a beautiful job singing and playing that song. I started smoking when I was 10 years old and finally quit when I was in my early 40s. But how did I quit for good? I was never quitting. I never quit quitting, okay? I'm 64 years old. I haven't had a cigarette since I was 40. Enjoy your videos. You're very educating and entertaining. God bless. Take care, my friend. Ciao for now. Thank you, Paul. You know, since I'm trying to be pretty honest with you guys, what's up with some people when you say God bless and they just kind of, okay, thank you. I'm not saying Paul did that. Paul will say God bless. But I'm saying, you know, is it that bad? Like, is it like saying Merry Christmas to a Jewish person or something? Really? If you say God bless, is that really offensive? Or is it just YouTube is so scary now, you don't want to repeat it because you might lose your channel? Because I won't say exactly who, but there's YouTubers out there, you'll say something like that, and you'll just go like, okay, well, that's okay then, buddy. Okay then, you know, like, I feel like that's pretty important, right? If you're an atheist, you do have a religion. It's not believing in God. And if you are not an atheist and let's say you're a Christian, you believe in God. So either way, you have a belief system. We as people usually have belief systems, and that's kind of what motivates you to live your life. So whether you believe in God or not, it shouldn't be offensive, because you're essentially saying, good luck. You know, and I feel like if I'm an atheist and someone says God bless, I'm not going to get offended. I'm just going to think they mean, well, good luck. Okay then. Anyways, I will get off on that rant. Good job on the not smoking and quitting for 24 years now here, because you say you're 64 years old. Of course, that was 4 weeks ago, Paul. You might be 65 now. I don't know. But happy birthday, Paul. Happy birthday. AJ Ray says 4 weeks ago, your brother done awesome. We will meet one day, buddy. Thank you for everything. The shout out again. You are awesome, my friend. The Johnson is a CB you talked to Florida on with the homemade antenna. And my little boy Nathan, that's 18 now, he had his cord wrapped around his neck with a true knot in the cord. He's all good now. Holy crap. He's all good now. I think you're awesome, bro. And a genius when it comes to CB stuff and antenna stuff. I'm going to miss the videos. Love you, bro. I mean that. God bless. Thank you, AJ Ray. Well, that's I'm glad he got out of that. Okay, because that would have been problematic, especially if you're talking about putting a CB radio up with the nylon cord. That stuff is hard to get out of a knot. That's rough. That stuff is difficult. But yes, the Johnson is what I talked to Florida on. 4 watts, Johnson Messenger. That thing blew up on me for some reason. Have no idea why. Just decided I'm not going to work today. And that was 2 years ago, I think. Something like that, a year and a half ago. And I haven't fixed it yet, because frankly, I'm not a tech. I'd like to be, but I really don't like you have to look at schematics, because I feel like it's cheating. I feel like if I'm so smart, I should be able to look at a board and find out what's wrong with it. But the truth of the matter is, even the smartest people will tell you you can't do that, because the connections are so intricate that you are not going to be able to look at a board and tell exactly what to do unless you have done it for 40 or 50 years and are so familiar with the board style. You won't be able to find out what's wrong without looking at a schematic. And then part of me hates that so much, because I feel stupid looking at a schematic. And so either I'm an idiot or I'm going to feel like one looking at a schematic. So, but I do need to fix that Johnson because it was a really nice radio. I really love the aesthetic look of it. They just, that wood grain, man, what happened to wood grain? Don't get me started on that. Anyways, thank you very much. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the CB radio hobby. I'm not a genius by any means. I've read a third of a book. Most of my knowledge comes from one of the most wonderful books in the world. It's written by a man named Stan Gibilisco, who died. He's what you would call a silent key. He was a ham guy. He wrote, I think, something like 50 to 150 books. I can't remember what the number is. But I loved Stan, and I didn't know Stan. Stan was that kind of guy. You could watch his videos, and if you want to go look at him, he's Whiskey 1 Good Vibrations, W1GV, Stan Gibilisco. If you go check out his videos, you'll know what I mean. He was the lonely guy who tried to build a community just like kind of what I like doing. And you listen to the guy and you just felt for him. He was sick for quite a few years. And it actually was devastating when he died, even though I didn't know him. And I felt like a big wimp, feeling that emotional about someone I had not met before. But I don't know. That's what happens on YouTube. It's kind of weird. People remind you of times gone by, and you just don't get that anymore. You don't get that from life anymore quite the same. It's almost like it's hidden in people, in memories. And there's certain people that have those pieces that help you put your old self back together for a fleeting moment. Yeah. Thank you for commenting. And I'm glad Nathan is okay. Yes, it's a scary situation to be in. And Vintage 76, the final comment, I thought that was one of the other ones was the final comment, or one of the last. A lot of comments. Viper 76 Viper Green Beetle says, Vintage 76 Viper Green Beetle says, have a safe trip. You and your brother sound great. Thank you. Appreciate it, Viper Green Beetle. My God, this video is right now at 1 hour, pretty much. It's 56 minutes. If you watch to the end, thank you. I don't know why you care that much, but thank you for watching to the end. And it'd make me feel a little less stupid, because if I don't see one comment that says, hey, I made it to the end, I'm going to feel like, okay, I need to really edit that, and I don't want to edit anything. So you know what? I'm not even going to threaten, because I feel like that's a threat. Like, you better watch to the end and comment. I just say it like this. I'll be damned. Shouldn't cuss. This is the format. I'm going to talk, and I'm not going to be doing a bunch of editing. I'm just going to talk, because that's what I'm going to do. This is what we're going to be about. I'm going to respond to you guys, not in a pit. I'm getting angry and I cuss when I'm angry. I'm not going to respond to you guys like some YouTubers where it's like, ha, thanks, haha, thanks for the comment. I'm going to actually try to talk about what you guys are talking about. I will squeeze out every little bit of information from your comments just so I can talk to you, because that's what you deserve. You spend your time watching my videos, so I'm going to respond to your comments. And that might take time, and that's okay. You know, I was going to end with a song, but frankly, the video is so long now, it's pretty much in an hour. I think I'll save that for next time. But until next time, it's 10-4 with Johnny Jones. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't, you can tell me all about it in the comments, and I'll read it next time. Hasta luego. See you later. God bless.